Kafukufuku wa ngozi ya ndege yomwe inachitika ku Chikangawa ndi kupha yemwe anali wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dziko lino ndi anthu ena 8 akupitirira ndi umboni wa anthu awiri omwe anasala kuti ayikire umboni kuti gawo loyamba lithe. Anthu amene watu ndi a John Msothi komanso a Tokani Ngwira. Mu gawo loyamba tinaonatu umboni zosiyanasiyana zikubwera kumeneku ndi kuperekera umboni. Ena mwa iwo ndi ene ake a ndege imeneyi omwe ali a Malawi Defense Force komanso ogwira ntchito aku office ya a Vice President akubanja anthu amene anamwalirawa ndi adindo ena amboma. Lero pa 31 July komiti imeneyi ikhala ikumva umboni wa a John Msothi omwe ndi a Lieutenant General Opuma amenewo aku Malawi Defense Force. Umu ndi mmene aperekera umboni wawo ku komiti kumeneko.
The floor is yours.
Sorry, I got a throat problem, so my voice is a bit hoarse. Chair, honorable members, let me start by saying thank you so much for allowing me to mourn and grieve my wife who passed away 29 days ago. And of course, Chair, not for the 1 minute standing we did for her. Thank you very much. Chair and honorable members, I've been asked to testify on my knowledge concerning the journey undertaken by the late Vice President Dr. Salos Chilima on 10th June 2024 and the information relating to the reported crash of the Malawi Defense Force Donia 22 aircraft. Specifically, I've been asked to explain the basis upon which my information was formed, the communications I made or received, the sequence of events leading to my communication with Mr. Moses Takoma. On the 10th of June 2024, at around 11 to 12 a.m., I learned through social media that the Vice President was on board the Malawi Donia aircraft traveling to Mzuzu to attend the funeral of late Raf Kasambala. I understand that he was scheduled to return immediately after the burial because he was due to bid farewell to His Excellency President Lazarus Chakwera, who was traveling to the Bahamas later that afternoon. The aircraft was expected to land in Mzuzu at approximately 10 in the morning, but it did not. Efforts by the Malawi Defense Force and Civil Aviation and authorities to establish communication with aircraft and its crew proved unsuccessful. Later that afternoon, at around 3 to 4 p.m., a search and rescue operation involving the Malawi Defense Force, the Malawi Police Service, and members of the public was activated. Due to limited search equipment, uncertainty regarding the aircraft's location, and the dense Chikangawa forest, the search yielded no positive results and was later suspended that evening. Telephone conversation with Mr. Moses Takoma. Chair, you have to excuse me. Later on, as I go through this, I'll be calling Mr. Moses Takoma as Mose. In short, I hope you don't mind. At approximately 8 to 9 p.m., I spoke with Moses by telephone. The conversation began with me saying, "Pepa Mose." He replied, "Bwanji Chief." I then said, "Mose, brace yourself. It's not looking good. I believe this plane has crashed." He responded, "No, Chief." I continued, "It's a terrible tragedy that Sean and his sister," Sean is the late VP's firstborn son, "have lost both their parents." He replied, "Chief, this cannot be. For your information, I was with Mary this afternoon at her house." I said, "Oh, thank God. This is good news. However, social media is awash with reports that the Vice President, Mary, Madam Shanil, and members of the security detail were all on board. The only person reportedly unable to board at the last minute was Honorable Chimwendo. I further told him that my instinct strongly suggests the aircraft had gone down and that the chances of finding survivors were extremely remote. Moses replied that, knowing SKC, he believed he could survive this. I agreed, saying SKC was exceptionally tough and very physically fit. Moses added, knowing him, he will not go down without a fight. Chair and honorable members, why I believe the aircraft had crashed. 3 reasons. Number 1, zero communication. The aircraft was carrying the Vice President, a very important national leader with a time-sensitive program that day. A prolonged loss of communication was highly unusual. That's number 1. Number 2 reason was the bad weather. The weather in Mzuzu was reportedly to be poor. Under normal aviation procedures, if landing was not possible, the aircraft would have returned or diverted to another suitable airfield, such as Likoma, Karonga, Tanzania, Zambia, or any other nearby base. However, there was no communication indicating that such had been taken. And the last one, and very important one to me, was the time. The aircraft was expected to land at around 10 in the morning. By the time I spoke with Mose, almost 10 hours had passed. The crew were experienced military professionals, and I did not believe they would deliberately remain silent over the radio for such a prolonged period. Taking these 3 factors, Honorable Chair and members, my instinct led me to believe that the aircraft had crashed. Later on in the evening, at around 10, 11-ish, His Excellency then, the President, addressed the nation regarding the missing aircraft and informed Malawians that search and rescue operations were ongoing. He appealed to all Malawians to pray for a positive outcome. Now, the next day, the 11th of June, 2024, the Minister of Information and the Commander of the Malawi Defense Force had a press briefing in the morning on the ongoing search and rescue operation. The public was also urged not to rely on unverified reports circulating on the social media. My message to Moses Ntakoma. At 11:29 a.m., I sent Mose a message, see the attached, informing him that I had received information that aircraft had been found and that His Excellency the President would shortly address the nation at 12 p.m. Mose replied that he has just received the same information. He also said he was still hoping for the best. Later that afternoon, Chair and honorable members, I departed for India together with my late wife. We fast forward now to 25th June 2024. That's the day I returned back from India. A few days later, I contacted Mose to ask him how the burial proceedings had gone in Inshe. I also requested him to arrange a visit for me to pay my condolences to Madam Mary Chirima. He did so, and a few days later, I visited Madam Chirima at her residence where I conveyed my condolences. On the 1st of July 2026, I sent Moses a TikTok video that I'd seen circulating on social media. See also attached. He responded, "Komaguduga zintu chief." He then asked for my opinion regarding the testimony of Mr. Lapken's wife. I replied that I had not yet seen it and asked him if he could send me the clip, which he did. After watching it, I replied that I found it very interesting because Mr. Lapken appeared noticeably jittery before the incident. Moses responded, "It's like he knew something," and I said yes. 2nd July 2026. At approximately 10 p.m., Moses called me to inform me that he had been summoned by this committee to provide information concerning the Vice President's accident. He said he was apprehensive about coming here. I encouraged him that not to worry, but simply to tell the committee the truth, as he knew it. He informed him that he intended to mention my name during his testimony and asked whether I had any objection. I told him, no, go ahead. Let me conclude, Chair and honorable members. My conversation with Moses Tagoma was that of an elderly brother speaking to someone who was experiencing immense emotional pain and distress. Moses and the late Vice President shared a very, very close relationship. During our conversation, I could clearly sense the profound grief, shock, and anguish that he was experiencing. My intention was solely to provide him with emotional support and to prepare him psychologically for what I believed, based on my personal assessment of the available facts, was a likely and tragic outcome. I wish to emphasize that my conversation with Moses was motivated entirely by compassion and concern. My opinion that the aircraft had crashed was based only on the 3 reasons I stated before, mainly lack of communication, the adverse weather, and the amount of time, the 10 hours passage that had passed. Chair and honorable members, I respectfully submit my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant General John Msothi. So just to confirm for you, we've read your report, we've listened to your report. Are you saying the communication that you had with Moses and Tacoma pertained to you believing the plane had crashed, not that the plane was identified or was discovered on the 10th? We want you to be very clear, because the report that was made here was that the plane was, you informed him that the plane was identified or discovered on the 10th. Your report is only saying that your conversation with him, you believed that the plane has crashed based on the circumstances, based on the prevailing circumstances. I just want, before we go any further, okay, for us to be very clear, you had no another conversation apart from you saying you believed the plane had crashed, not that you had information that the plane was discovered on the 10th.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, indeed, Chair. On the 10th June, my conversation with Moses was solely based on the 3 facts that I've mentioned. And as far as Malawi, myself, and everybody else, was that the plane was missing, and my personal conclusion was must have crashed. I didn't have any other information that it had crashed, no, but I based it on my own assumption.
I will open the floor to members. We start with Deza Kasina. Lilongemude, and then Doa Kasangas.
Chair, on permission, I know Lieutenant, I didn't hear you asking, Lieutenant General Msothu, I didn't hear you, Chair, asking which language is okay, but when I was checking his personal background, I think he's from Chisa, and you're conversant with Chichewa. Permission to engage him in Chichewa, Chair.
It's not up to me, it's up to him.
Yes, I'm asking if he can ask.
Yes, are you free to respond in Chichewa?
Chair, English Chichewa, I'm comfortable with either language. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ziko mwambili Lieutenant General Msothu boyamba mene ananena chair moja tibebese chifuka cha kuluza okundika ano masiku 29 apitawo even kubebesa ochokera kwa anthu akuchokera kudedza kasina. Ndimafuna ndiyambire mene alekezera ya chair pofusa nkhani ya phone mene mudayankhulana ndi anthu akomwa pakati pa 8 ndi 9 o'clock madzulo wapa 10. Mwina poyamba mudathandiza kali kumiti kuti amene anayambira nzaje ndi ndani phone imene.
Chair, honorable members, I'm not so sure, but let me just say I'm the one who called. I'm not so sure who called who. I can't verify, but we did talk that particular day.
Chabwino, mu conversation yanu mudayanka kuti you believed kuti the plane has crashed. Kuti ndege yagwa, mna ndichikupiri ndege yagwa fika ntame mayankhula nayo. Inali chifuka zitatu mwane nazija mwamba muzi kapena munali mutava pena baji muna ndi information yogwirika kuti monga inu ngati General or Lieutenant General mwina anzanu kumene mudagwira ntchito kaleko kwe ndifanata kuzani kuti so certain kuti ndege jataipeza yagwa chifukwa Mr. Ntakoma adabwera adalongosola madito zonse kuti mudanena kuti ndege yagwa inaomba mtengo ndipo anthu onse mwajisoni atisiya. He was so certain anali sure amene ankalongosolera mwina ndimafuna ndimvera choka kwa inu.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable member, for that question. But 10, Midmanko and Moses, nobody knew Kutindege for certain Udiagwa. Myself, I was basing on the 3 assumptions I just stated above. So you must also understand, honorable member, that Moses was very attached to the late VP, and he was very emotional. Even when we were talking, some of the things I didn't even put here, I could tell that he was actually crying. He wasn't himself. But what he picked from our conversation was my insistence in saying, ndege agwa. So I'm sure that must have embedded in his head, and that's what he remembered most. But there was no information from the military informing me, kudo answered ndege agwa pateni, when people were searching for it. No, Your Honor. Thank you, Chair.
Ndifu sabi pomwepo, Chair Mundura. Titose ambili Malawi yose anayendi chisoni. But zimakhala mwina certain levels of chisoni chifukwa cha personal attachment mene manenera. Kumabe papita zaka ziwiri. Malingana ndi mena yankhulira Ntakoma anali so sure. Anandiuza General Msothu kuti ndege yagwa inamenya mtengo. So I wanted you to clarify mamene ngati mudanena. Kapena mene ifanya chisoni sana vetse so?
Chair, honorable member, as I told you, Moses was very emotional. And I can only assume that for me to be saying ndege yagwa, it was touching. And if they were mentioned of trees or hills, it was playing out in our heads. Kudita diagwa, kuchikangawa kulimitengo. Kuma detailed, kuti apanga bwanji. And we're talking about usiku tumeneo. No information, guesswork. A friend talking to a friend. How could I have those details? It was all guesswork, but me emphasizing to him, kuti ndege mene yagwa. 10 hours to now. Poof. Thank you, Chair.
Pa 2 July, akubwera kunoku mwanena kuti mudayankhulana ndi mudawauza adakufusani mudazoti pitani mbolo mudakandichula adanenanso kuti mudayankhulana nawo andi amanenaso kuti zimene amazanena zija ndikupera mudavera muna mudava akuti mudawauza ndino kuti olomunthu akanditchula nzoona. Can you mwina mukhoza nkhapa china yaje pazimenezo?
Yes, Chair, an honorable member. When Moses called me and told him that he was coming here, he was a bit worried. I said, no, relax, tell the truth. And then he said, Kuma Chief, nikakuchula nitro. I said, yes, go ahead. In my mind was the conversation that I had with him. He was going to talk about that. So I told him, go ahead. I didn't have anything to worry about. Koduka dijani, why this? No. I told him to go ahead.
Very last, the Chair. Kupatula bafoni ndikubedi mumajeza ndantha koma mukakhala malo golf club ndikuna koteroko malo otero amene anatchulira ever heard him akulongosola nkhani imene fika kuti kumalo amene amakhala amapezeka nthawi ambiri zimene azanena muno zija amazinena pena paliponse samazidziwa in your sake mukakhalapo how true is that kuti amanena zimene zija evidence imene mudapatsa inu ija conversation ya inuyo ndiwo amanena mauza anthu paliza golf club adatchula malo angapo? Were you part to that kind of discussion?
Chair and honorable members, what you must realize, when my wife was sick, I put everything on hold. I never went to the golf club. It was just attention to my wife. So Zoti Moses Amacheza, he could have, that's possible. But from what I picked up, I listened to his testimony when he was here. He kept saying he didn't believe me. In other words, he knew that day usiku. I didn't have any solid information. So that's why probably he didn't share it with anybody. But Zoti Amabanga share kumauza antinesa kumamva pompo, no. I was most of the time in the country or in India, in and out. So I never went to the golf club for a long period until now. Thank you, Chair.
Chair,
so I had Dowa Kasangaze. Oh, I had you. Okay, so let's go in that order. Alilongwe Mude and then Dowa Kasangaze.
Zikoma kwambiri honorable chairperson. Ineso ndi joine anzanga kuti pepani kwambiri Lieutenant General Msothu retired chifukwa cha oluza mai pepani. Ndi pepesenso kunena kuti ndikhala ngati ndikubwerenza nkhani imene ayamba kale dedza kasina chifukwa chonena kuti tikufuna chindunji chenicheni. Nkhani yayikulu bwana Msothu imene mwayitanidwa nchifukwa cha evidence ya bambo Takoma. Ndeti mafuna timve mosakayikira kulina kuli konse kuti inu mukachoka tisakhaleso ndi mafunso kuti mwina amatanthauza chakuti. Mwachindunji bwana Msothu mungatitsimikizire komiti ino kuti zimene adanena Mr. Takoma zonena kuti inu mudauza kuti ngozi yachitika yadziwika kale matupiso apezeka kale zimene adanena Takoma kudzatiuza komiti ino sizoona mungatitsimikizire choncho?
Chair, honorable members, as I keep repeating, I didn't have any evidence. I didn't even know kuti zinakhala bwanji, but I was basing on my own instinct that ndege mene yakwa. Whether we mentioned Utika Mitengo, whatever, could have been part of the conversation, but I didn't have any evidence. Thank you, Chair.
Zikoma kwambiri. Funso langa lachiwiri likhalanso ngati ndikubwerenza koma ndikufuna ndimvetse. Tsiku limene amabwera pa 2 adanena kuti adakuimbirani tipota zavomerezedwa kale kuti munayimbira. Adakuuzani kunena kuti ineyo tu evidence yanga imene ndikukapereka uku ndikanena zakuti zonena kuti inu munandiuza. Adanena ma details kapena kunena kuti zimene adzanene ku komiti kuno nzija adanena zimene mudamvera adakuuzani?
Chair, honorable members, Moses just said, Chief, I'm going to mention your name. Do you mind if I mention your name? I told him, go ahead. I was full of confidence with that. Even if he mentions my name, it won't make any difference. I wasn't worried about it, but he never said to me, "Niganena is and is and is." That means we'd have had a different discussion. Why this? Why are you gonna say this? But we didn't. Yeah, thank you.
Funso langa lomaliza. General, inuyo mutamva zimene adanena athakoma ku komiti kuno, mudamva bwanji?
Chair, it's quite sad because part 2, that's when my wife was very, very sick. Part 3, when you're interviewing, that's when my wife passed away. So there was a lot of backlash from a lot of people. Iwe Mose, banjuka pachika bwana. Kudia na kuzia chanchan. But I said, Yemwe, leave it. And I was with Mose. He's a personal friend. He was there at my house. So this thing, when it was happening, I just ignored it. I said, let me concentrate on mourning my wife. But deep down, I knew. I even shared with a few people. I said, no. Moses just picked just the highlight. But there was more to it. We discussed about Anna Kalabanji corrected me, I made a ribo, etc. So that's how it was that day, part 3.
So, Chair, omaliza ndipempho kuti mmene atiuzira Bwana Msothu Thakoma adakumbutsidwa kangapo kunena kuti munalumbira ndipo iwo amakhala kuti ndalumbiradi. Koma zikuoneka kuti zimene adanenazo sizoona. Nde ndikupemphani Chair komanso kuti tione kunena kuti kodi Thakoma tipanga bwanji monga malamulo. Zikoma kwambiri Chair.
Zikoma kwambiri Chair, potipatsa mpata ife anthu akukasangadzi kuti tiperekepo mafunso awiri atatu. Poyambirira ndi ajoina anzanga kukupepesani General Msothu chifukwa cha imfa ya amayi akunyumba kwanu. Ndili ndi mafunso ochepa chabe. Poyambirira ndimafuna ndidziwe kuti ndinu Lieutenant General amene ndi otchuka kwambiri muno Malawi. Timangofuna ndidziwe kuti kodi ku ame kumene mmagwira ntchito munapanga liti.
Thank you, Chair. I retired in 2014.
Chabwino. Azanga afusakale pankhani yokhuzana ndi Moses Thakoma. Komano ndimangofuna ndidziwe kunena kuti Moses Thakoma atachoka kuno kuti adzatipatsa umboni wawo umene lero lino ukuoneka kuti sunali woona. Munakumana nawonso nkuwapanga confront kuwafunsa kuti kodi nchifukwa chani unapita ku committee kukafotokoza version yoti ne si zimene nnafotokoza.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I did tell him on the actual day we were mourning that Moses, we need to sit down, but a few things that you missed out. But then with what was happening, I just ignored it. But last night, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, when the community was going around that I was coming for this, he said, Chief, good luck. You also tell them the truth. That was his comment. Yes.
Mene Moses Thakoma anabwera kuno mafotokozedwe awo amafotokoza ndithu mukakamira kunena kuti inuyo ndamene munawauza kufotokoza kuti ndege yagwa ndipo mmene yagwera yaomba mtengo ndipo anthu onse amwalira. Inuyo mukuganiza kuti no ndi chifukwa chani Moses Thakoma amabwera kudzafotokoza zinthu zoterezi pamene inu simunanene zimenezo?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I cannot exactly know what was going on inside Moses' head, but we must all remember this was 2 years ago, and the closeness, as I keep repeating, of Moses and the late SKC was very close. So a lot of people were confused that very day that it happened. And the next day, when we learned to do ndege jaipeza, and there were also, remember, pictures circulating. Him, all of us seeing our dear friend late Salos, the way he was, very emotional, very tough. So my thinking, I'm not sure, but my thinking, with that, with time, Moses must have said, kudibana josikuja, ndoda manena zona udindegede ya gwadet, inamenya mitengo, from what was now what was the truth on the 11th. But on the 10th, I had no knowledge. So I'm looking at, with time, with the images that came, possibly that's what came to his mind. Thank you, Chair.
Mukufotokoza kwanu manena kuti no panali ma factors atatu why you believed the plane had come down. Munafotokoza kuti maona kuti kunali nyengo yosakhala bwino. Komanso mafotokoza kuti nthawi inali itadutsapo mwina over 10 hours. Ndimafuna kuti mungo fotokoza chifukwa chachitatu chifukwa sindamvetsetse bwino mati chifukwa chachitatu chimene mmakhulupirira kuti ndege imene inali itagwa ndi chani.
Through you, Chair, the three reasons, the last one was time. I looked at Kamba Mawa 10 o'clock when they're supposed to land in Mzuzu. The whole day, mpana usiku, chakumateni, when we were talking, there was no way our professional pilots would just sit with the vice president, no communication to the whole Malawi, and just keep us in the dark. No, something bad had happened, and I personally believed it must have crashed.
Chair, mafuso anga na amene ziko mwambi.
Planta malabada, ndeti bwere, ndamba tonde, and then there's a man.